Hey guys, it's your girl Chocolate Trucker coming at you with another video. I want to say to all my new subscribers, thank you for subscribing, and all my past subscribers, thank you for continuing to watch and support me. Today is Saturday, May 4th, and I'm currently in Virginia. I'm currently waiting on my load to get ready. And the reason why I'm waiting is because I kind of left a little early from where I was. I started off today in Maryland. And initially my appointment time, I thought it said 5, but it said 7. And actually my load won't be ready until roughly about 10 o'clock tonight. So let's dig into this video. This video is going to be about trip planning. Trip planning is an integral part of time management when it comes to driving. The better your trip plan, the better you can run. So if I would have realized before I actually took off this morning that my load was not scheduled to be ready until 7 o'clock this afternoon, and then I would have left about noon, 1 o'clock out of Maryland to head down, because I was 230 to 50, something like that, miles away. So I would have left around that time to allow me time to get around traffic when you come in around Baltimore, around Washington D.C., as well as around Richmond. You need to allow that extra time for traffic when you're coming around certain areas. So I would have left between 12 and 1 o'clock to get here closer to 7. That way I would have had more time on my clock, and could have ran tonight when my load was ready. But be it as it may, I'm currently, like I said, waiting for my load to get ready. Also, when it comes to trip planning, plan your stops. One thing I like to do, I use not only my atlas and my GPS, I use an app called Trucker's Path to plot along my route where I would likely where I will stop for my 30-minute break. When I plan my trip, my first PSD trainer, he always trip planned using 50 miles per hour as his speed. And I find that with using 50 miles per hour as my speed, it not only gives me flexibility when it comes to stopping for the day and for my 30-minute break. It allows me to be early for most of my appointments, or right on time if I do run into any issues. So with calculating your speed at 50 miles per hour, let's say you have a 400-mile trip. So that tells you that trip will take you 8 hours. Once again, that's if you go 50 miles per hour. But I leave that time, let's say I have to go through Atlanta, that 400-mile trip. Now, if I would have calculated actual speed versus a probable speed, I guess you would say, then I would calculate speed at around 60 miles per hour. 60 miles per hour, that will take you, I want to say something like 6 hours. I'm doing the math off the top of my head, so I'm going to say about between 6 and 7 hours to run 400 miles. If you do 60 miles per hour, 7 hours. If you do 60 miles per hour. Versus if you plan that trip at 50 miles per hour, then okay, you say, okay, it's going to take me 8 hours to do this trip. If you're going through Atlanta certain times of the day, you already know you're going to deal with traffic, variable highway speeds, and you're going to be dealing with people who, for lack of a better term, don't know how to drive. which extends out your time that you will be driving, or just sitting. Now, one thing you can't plan for is if there's an accident. Accident cleanup time varies tremendously, so there's no way to accurately account for if there is an accident along your route. The best thing you can do is either have a GPS that has updates on it. So if you are coming to a congested area or area where there has been an accident or an incident, your GPS will let you know and offer alternate routes to get you around that backup, so you won't waste so much time in that traffic jam. Now, for me, my Garmin, I have the little Garmin, and yeah, and this little thing right here, it actually links to my phone, and through my phone, it gets updates on the road conditions. So if there is an accident or incident along my route, it'll let me know, and it'll offer an alternative route. That way I won't have to sit and wait. Another thing that you cannot plan for is issues with your truck, your trailer, or tires, airlines, things of that nature. Actually, on the trip that I just ended, I had an issue with 2 separate trailer tires, and that actually cost me a half a day of running, because I had to wait for them to be repaired. I actually started a video that day, but every time I got like halfway through, a technician would come and ask me a question, or something would happen, and I would have to stop the video. So I did make two or three attempts to try and make a video while I was actually in the tire bay waiting for those tires to get fixed. So the first incident, I was on my 30-minute break, and as I cranked my truck up, getting ready to pull off, I got a tire alert on my Qualcomm, as well as my tire light was on for the trailer, tire inflation. So with that combination, yeah, it was time to go in. Sorry, I thought they was coming to get me from my trailer. Got a little excited, thought it was going to be done early. But yeah, with that combination, it was time to take it in. Thankfully, I was right across the street from a TA. So I went in. The first repair took about, I want to say, 3.5 hours. Got that done. I still had a couple hours on my clock, so I attempted to run some more. Got maybe a quarter of a mile down the road, and I'm getting another message, and my tire inflation light for my trailer comes back on again. I don't feel too comfortable pulling off on the side of the road, especially when it comes to checking tires, just for the simple fact that it's a dangerous spot to be in. Some people don't get over, and it's just a very hazardous spot to be in. So if I can avoid stopping on the side of the road, I will avoid it. So I ended up actually getting turned around, went back to the CA that fixed the initial tire issue, and they fixed the second tire issue on the opposite side. The first one was the front left, the second one was the front right. So they got that taken care of, and by the time that was finished, I had little to no time on my clock, so I just shut it down there and called it a night. I got up about 6 o'clock that next morning and ran some more of my load. Now on that trip, I was supposed to make it to Ohio, and I ended up having to stop in Illinois. So with that being said, after having to stop because of the tire issues, next day I ran, and I believe about halfway through Pennsylvania, or 3/4 through Pennsylvania, not far from my turn off to drop down into Maryland. But by and by, I was able to still make my appointment for that Friday on time with the issues that I had that Wednesday afternoon. So it was all good. Before I went to sleep that night, I trip planned to see where I was going to stop, to take my 30-minute break. And when I stopped for my 30, I redid my plan for where I was going to stop for the night. Because in Pennsylvania, if you're on the turnpike, there are some truck stops off of the turnpike, or there are some travel plazas along the way. I stop at travel plazas when I'm on the turnpike because I don't want to pay any more in tolls than I have to, and it's more convenient. It's like a rest area, pull in and pull out, but they have food, good food at that. And normally they have a Starbucks, or some type of coffee place that you can grab your coffee from in the morning before you leave out. Yeah, so that is my gist on trip planning. Whether you're going on a trip with your family or you're driving the truck every day, trip planning will make your drive more efficient. It will make you a more efficient driver, and you don't have to be looking for places to pull over at the last minute. You'll already know in your head, okay, I'm stopping at exit 20 on I-95 in South Carolina. You'll already know. And also what I do, I have sticky notes, and I will write my exit, my truck stop, everything on my sticky notes, and I will stick it up on the window. That way, if I do forget along the ride, because after 6 hours of driving, you may forget where you plan to stop at, so I can just glance up and I can look where I'm going to stop. I also do that with my fuel stops, and the name of the place that I'm going to, just because it's easier for me to see my handwriting on the pink sticky note versus trying to look at my Qualcomm and squinch and see the name of the place that I'm going to, or if there's special instructions like do not use this road because no through trucks allowed, or no trucks over 12 tons allowed, something that's specific to the place I'm going to, then I'll write up there. Just like some places, you'll be going to like a cold storage, and it'll say this place says XYZ, not ABC, so you know what to look for. Just little things like that will make your drive more efficient and help you be less stressed. So that's all, guys. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them down below in the comment box, or you can always hit me up in my email, chocolatetrucker18@gmail.com. You guys have a wonderful day, and thanks for watching.